Okay, so this video is going to show how to create a playlist like this one for Sunday morning worship. And we're actually going to create one like this using the same order of worship. So we're going to be using December 18th, 2016 order of worship. And we're going to start by creating the new playlist. So we do that by going down here, see where we have test presentation. These are the AM worship presentations. So we're going to start by clicking on that, and that is just where we were last week. So we're going to add a new presentation by clicking on that little plus sign at the bottom and new playlist. We're going to title this 12/18/2016 for the date, but I'm just going to go ahead and put a test tag at the back of it. So here's our test presentation. So the order of worship starts with a call to worship. So what we want is to have a welcome slide. So let's start with the welcome slide by clicking on this welcome tag right here. And let's just choose one of the tags. Let's choose this welcome slide here. So we're going to just slide this over, click it and drag it into the playlist. So now you see that it is in our playlist. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to add the first song. The first song is Angels We Have Heard on High, and they are singing the first, second, and third verse, but at the end they're going to repeat the chorus instead of just singing it once. So we're going to add a song to Angels We Have Heard on High. We're going to go to our search bar here, click in it, and start typing Angels We Have Heard. And by the time you get here, it should find it already. So here we have Angels We Have Heard on High song. You see that each of these is labeled with what it is. So here's the song. So what we're going to do, we're going to drag this into our playlist. And then here we have our song. Here it's labeled verse 1, chorus, verse 2, chorus, verse 3, chorus. But we're going to repeat the chorus at the end. So we need to make a new arrangement of this. So what we're going to do, this right here is the arrangement folder or tab. So we're going to click on it. There we go. And then right here in the little settings drop down, we're going to click and we're going to go to add new arrangement. And we're going to give it a name so that we can reference it later if we need to. And this is repeat chorus at end. And this will just help us to remember what the arrangement is. And we're going to click OK. All right, so here is our master arrangement. And then here is our new arrangement. So verse 1, chorus, verse 2, chorus, verse 3, chorus. But we're going to add another chorus at the end. So what we're going to do is we're going to click on chorus here. We're going to just drag it down and kind of move it until that little yellow line pops up. So we're going to let go there, and it adds the chorus a second time. So now when you look at it here, verse 1, chorus 2, chorus 3, chorus, and chorus. So that's how we created a new arrangement for that. Anytime in the future we want to maybe use that arrangement again, we bring in Angels We Have Heard on High, and we can click on it, and then we can go to our arrangements, and we can choose this one here by repeat chorus at end or our master. All right, so we're going to go ahead and go back to here. So now we have our welcome and we have our first song. Our second thing is going to be our announcements. So we have a couple of announcements this week. So we're going to go to our announcement slides in our tabs here. And what we'll do is we're going to start by creating a announcement presentation. So we can do that by going to New right here, and this will create a new presentation. And then here we're going to say announcements and date 12/18/2016. And we're going to change our category to announcements, and we're going to click New. It says it already exists, so I created that. Let's go test and New. All right, so here it pulls up our announcements. So we can actually find them, only our announcements, by going here. So 12/18/2016 test. But what we're going to do here is we're going to need to edit this. So let's click on that, and we're going to click Editor. And this is where we can put in our slides. So let's start our announcements with the same welcome slide that we had, so that whenever whoever's doing announcements, they can just come up and the welcome slide will be up there. So we're going to just take this and we're going to drag it right in here, and that's going to kind of get it started. Now we're going to add our first announcement slide, which is going to be about our classes, so, and our service. So here's a candlelight service slide that's going to be going in there, and I'll just drag it up in here until that little, looks like a turquoise aqua line pops up, and that will add it in. Next is our holiday schedule class, so we're going to drag that in here as well until that little line comes up. And then we're going to have our faith and comedy night, so we're going to drag that in here as well. All right, so once those are in, all we have to do is click this X to get out, and then we can select it again here and then drag it into our playlist. So when we go into our playlist, here we have our welcome, we have our song that has been edited, and then we have our announcement slides. After our announcement slides, we're going into Thank You Lord, which is number 7081 in the book. So if you need to verify which one that is, because here we're going to switch this to songs, and we're going to type in Thank You Lord. But if you notice, there's several versions of Thank You Lord. So what we're going to do is we'll need to know which one we're using. And here, this one is for all that you've done, I will thank you. And this is the version that we're going to be singing. So we're going to add this one in here. So it's the Thank You Lord, Jernigan. And we're going to just select that and drag it into our announcements. And you see that little blue bar that came across, letting you know where it was going to be placed. Okay, so now that we have added Thank You Lord, our next song is No Tears in Heaven. So again, we're in songs still, but we're going to go ahead and type in No Tears in Heaven. And our results pop up. Here we go. So No Tears in Heaven. And we're going to select it and then drag it down into our playlist. Then we're going to have a prayer, and in order to add the prayer slide, we can just come down here to the tags, select prayer, and then choose which one is going to go in. So, I think it'd be really good to choose one that somewhat fits the color and scheme of our welcome slide. So here we have a sky. So we're gonna add in this prayer slide here. It also has a sky in there. So we're gonna just choose it and drag it over. And there we go. You can see it's been placed in there. All right, so before I move on, I forgot to mention this. Whenever we have a song here that doesn't have any color coding, it means it has some labeled yet. So we're going to go ahead and label this song. So let's click on this and see here, it's verse 1. So what we're going to do is we're going to right click right here, and then we're going to add a group label, and we're going to say verse 1. Now it's going to group all of them. So we're going to just go through each slide. That's still verse 1, and now here's the chorus. So we're going to right click on that first chorus slide, go to new group, and come down to chorus. And it's going to do all the ones behind it. So we're going to just kind of keep going through here until we get verse 2. We're going to right click that, go to verse 2. All right, so we're going to just keep going through until we get all of them labeled. New group, verse, oh, that's a chorus as well. And then chorus, here we go, verse 3. And finally the chorus again. So here we've just labeled this song so they'll be easier to find if we need to down the road. All right, so let's get back to here, the prayer. So we just added our prayer slide. This is the order of worship that we're looking at. And then after the prayer is peace, perfect peace. So we're going to go here and we're going to type in peace, perfect peace. And here we see this one here. Look, it's already been labeled. So what we're going to do is we're going to drag it in after the prayer. And after peace, perfect peace is going to be communion thoughts. And you'll notice that there's no music between the communion or during the communion. So what we're going to do is we're just going to add a basic communion slide. So we're going to go to communion bread here. And this is going to pull up all of them that can be used for bread. But you can see these all have the tag for bread and cup. So we can actually use these for all of them. So let's go ahead and let's choose this one here. And we're going to slide this one in by clicking on it and dragging it under the peace, perfect peace. And this one will stay up through our worship time, through our communion time, I'm sorry. After communion, we're going to be dismissing kids to children's worship or worship 411. And so we'll need to add the slide that goes before the song. So here we're going to go to worship 411 slides in our hot folder, or you can go to announcements in your tag, and we're just going to click on that and we're going to drag it over. Now you have to check, look here, because sometimes whenever you drag it over, it may go up above the one you wanted it to, like it just did there. So I'm going to go ahead and select it. And now I'm going to click and drag it underneath and make sure that it goes in the correct order. After children's worship announcement to dismiss, and we're going to do all to Jesus, I surrender. And we're going to do just verses 1 and 2. So we're going to go back up here and go all to Jesus. Here we go. All to Jesus I surrender. We're going to select that, and we're going to drag it into our presentation. So we want that little blue line to be at the bottom, and it imported in the right spot. And we're going to go ahead and select it because we're going to create a new arrangement for it for just verses 1 and 2. Now this will include the chorus, so it'll be verse 1 chorus, verse 2 chorus, and that will be all. So let's go to our arrangement tab. We're going to go to add new arrangement. We're going to call this verse 1 and 2 only. Okay, and now we see this is where we have our new arrangement. So we're going to take out the chorus here, and we're going to take out verse 3. So now we have just verse 1, chorus, verse 2, chorus. All right, so we can close that arrangement tab. You just open and close it by clicking on it. And now we come to the sermon. So the sermon will be already imported into ProPresenter. So what we're going to do is we're going to take our little settings here, and we're going to change our filter to sermon notes so that we can find the sermon within this library. So we're just going to use this test sermon here. And I'm going to click on it, and I'm going to drag it in. Let's see. Oh, maybe I didn't get a hold of it. There we go. And I'm going to make sure it gets all the way to the bottom, and it is the last one on there. So now the sermon has been inserted, and then after the sermon is "Great is thy faithfulness." So we're going to change this back here to song and type in "Great is thy faithfulness." So here we go. Click on that. It's already been labeled. And I'm going to drag this into the bottom. I'm going to show you something really important real quick. So on our sermons, and I'm going to have Scott do this when he's building it, but just so you know, right here, what you'll see here, this is called a Q. See that has the same little symbol, but it has a little X on it? This Q is going to cancel any background images that are active. So, for example, whenever I click here, this has a background image. But whenever I go to the next slide, it doesn't have the background image anymore because I have this Q here. So if I were to, for example, click on this and remove the clear background cue, what would happen is whenever I scroll through, that background would stay on there. So in order to take care of that, what we do is you can right click on the slide that might show a background if it's doing that, and then you're going to go down to add cue here, add a clear action cue, clear background. So whenever you click on it now, it will just go without a background. And then the background will come up again, and we have another clear action cue there so that when it goes to the next song, it will clear the background as well. Okay, so now that we've added "Great is thy faithfulness" to our slides, and I've shown you the clear background cue, that's going to be very important if those backgrounds ever come up. Let's say, for example, that the cue wasn't there and the background ended up showing from behind one of the songs or something. So I actually added a clear background cue on this song slide as well, so that it wouldn't come through, just in case. But if it ever did, you can always clear the background by coming up here and clicking on that, and it will automatically clear the background as well. So going on to our next song, after "Great is thy faithfulness" is our elder blessing. So I'm just going to add in that same welcome slide that we had earlier. So I'm going to welcome here, and I'm just going to take this welcome slide again, and I'm just going to drag it in. We will have some other slides possibly for elder blessing that we might use as we continue to develop the library of images. So then after the elder blessing, we're going to be doing joy to the world. So in order to do joy to the world, let's just go back here. We're going to make sure it's on song. Type in joy to the world. Here we go, joy to the world. And see, it's not labeled, so we want to go ahead and label it. Anytime you see one that's not labeled, please go ahead and label it. And again, just after you've clicked on it, and then you can click on the first slide and then just start looking at this and choosing your labels. So here, group label, verse 1. Go here, group label, verse 2. Group label, verse 3, and group label, verse 4. All right, so that's simple on labeling. So now that's labeled. We're going to sing all 4 verses. We're going to go ahead and hold after we click and drag it to the bottom. And that is the end of that. So let's go ahead and just, so that we don't end on that slide, let's just go ahead and put this welcome screen back in there. As you can see, whenever I drug it over, it went above joy to the world. So I'm going to make sure that I have it in the right order. So now we have this deck or this playlist that has been created